Mako Vunipola has delivered a sobering, yet powerful warning to his former England teammates ahead of the Six Nations, insisting that the shock retirement of Uini Atonio following a heart attack could push France to another level as they begin their title defense. French rugby has been left reeling by the news that broke midweek, confirming that the iconic tight head prop is currently in intensive care in La Rochelle after suffering a serious cardiac event, an episode that has abruptly ended his professional playing career. At just 35 years of age, one of the most influential forwards of the modern era has been forced into retirement, leaving a profound emotional and tactical void for club and country alike. For Fabien Galthié, the loss of Atonio is seismic. For the French rugby community, it is deeply personal. And for those who packed down against him, including Vunipola, it is a stark reminder of how quickly everything can change. The giant of French rugby Uini Atonio's stature within the game was matched only by his physical presence. Standing 6 feet 5 inches and weighing 123 kilograms, the staid Rochellais prop was one of the most formidable scrummagers of his generation, anchoring France's pack through some of their most successful years. Atonio was a cornerstone of the side that claimed a historic Grand Slam in 2022 and started all 5 matches of France's Six Nations triumph last season. At club level, he was instrumental in staid Rochellais back-to-back Champions Cup victories, helping to establish the Atlantic Coast Club as a European powerhouse. His absence, therefore, is not merely about replacing a player. It is about replacing leadership, authority, and a sense of inevitability at the set piece. Loosehead prop Mako Vunipola knows that better than most. Scrummaging against him was never nice. Now in his second season with Prod 2 leaders Vunipola spent more than a decade battling Atonio at test level and remains immersed in the French rugby landscape. Speaking with emotion and respect, the former England international described the reaction within France as one of shock and deep concern. "Everyone is stunned to hear about Uini," Vunipola said. "You're just praying and hoping he's okay. That's the first thing. Rugby comes second." He then turned to the player he knew all too well. He's been an absolute giant of the game, figuratively and literally. Scrummaging against him was never nice, I can tell you. There's not many players of his size who really know how to use it. For all his sheer power, Atonio was far more than a static scrummaging force. He could hit, he could carry, and obviously he could scrummage. It was always a tough day at the office going against him, Vunipola added. He's one of the greats, an absolute cornerstone of French rugby. An emotional nation, a galvanized team, the tributes that followed the announcement of Atonio's condition poured in from across the rugby world. But few places felt the impact more deeply than France. From teammates and rivals to supporters and pundits, the sense of collective shock was unmistakable. "You can see how much he is loved from the messages that have been posted," Vunipola said. "We all know rugby is an emotional game, but particularly over here. And that emotion, Vunipola believes, could become France's greatest weapon. When the emotions are right for French teams, they can beat anyone," he said. "I have no doubt France will be galvanized by this. Wanted to win for their mate. I expect them to go up another level." It is a sentiment that will not be lost on France's Six Nations opponents, starting with Ireland, who traveled to Paris for the tournament opener. The Stade de France has witnessed countless French performances fueled by collective purpose and emotional unity, and Vunipola expects this campaign to follow that pattern. France still the team to beat despite the loss of Atonio. France enter the championship as odds-on favorites to retain their crown. Their squad remains stacked with talent across the park, and their attacking firepower, led by electric winger Louis Bielbayri, has bookmakers predicting another prolific tournament. But Vunipola is quick to caution that momentum and emotion, rather than personnel alone, often define Six Nations campaigns. "People will look at who's missing and assume France are weakened," he said. "But sometimes those situations bring teams closer together. They give you something bigger to play for." England, however, may have something to say about France's plans. Genge, the talisman England arrive in the tournament on an 11-game winning streak and will face France in the final round. Vunipola believes his former side have a genuine chance, particularly if Ellis Genge continues his outstanding form in the number 1 jersey. "Everyone knows what Genge can do," Vunipola said. And he's showing it more and more often now. The former Leicester and Bristol prop has become one of England's emotional and physical leaders, capable of swinging momentum with a single carry. You can see how much of a talisman he is for Bristol, but also for England, Vunipola continued. When you see him rampaging like that through the middle, it gives your team a lift and enormous confidence. One moment in particular still resonates with Vunipola. I still remember when we played Australia on my last tour in 2022, he recalled. Second test in Brisbane. England were 1 down in the series. 30 seconds gone. Genge gets the ball and runs over Michael Hooper. The impact was immediate. The lift it gave us as a team was incredible. It set the tone for a real physical performance. We won the game, then a week later in Sydney, closed out the series. It is that same edge England will need if they are to derail a French side playing with renewed emotional purpose. Life after England, life in France for Vunipola himself. International rugby is now part of the past. The Loosehead won 79 England caps between 2012 and 2023 and featured in 9 tests across 3 British and Irish Lions tours, a resume that places him among the most accomplished forwards of his era. Now 34, he is focused on finishing the season with Vun and helping them secure promotion back to the top 14. It's gone well out here, he said. We've adapted to the culture and, with a bit more of a grasp of the language, feel a lot more settled. When he first moved to Brittany, Vunipola admitted concerns about how his family would adjust. Those worries have eased. For my family, my young children, it's been great coming out here and experiencing France, he said. It's beautiful where we live. Yet, there's a sense of transition. For me now, it's probably time to come back and put down roots, ready for life after rugby. Coaching, playing, or both? While Vunipola is conscious that his playing career is nearing its natural conclusion, he is not ready to shut the door entirely. I'm really enjoying this season, knowing I'm nearing the end of the road, he said. At the same time, I'm trying to figure out what the next year and next step looks like. Coaching is firmly on his radar. I'd like to explore coaching, he explained. I'm doing bits at the club with the younger academy boys around the set piece. Still, the itch to play remains. I have not closed my mind to playing on, he admitted. Watching some of the Champions Cup and Prem games, one week I'm like, yeah, I'm okay, another I'm like, oof. That looked like a big hit. For Vunipola, it is as much mental as physical. As long as my head's in the right place and I still love and enjoy the game, the body will follow. Tonga, an unfinished business. That openness could yet benefit Tonga, the country of Vunipola's parents. Earlier this month, he confirmed that representing Tonga at next year's World Cup would be an honor. He has already taken steps in that direction, spending time during the autumn shadowing Tonga's coaching staff in Scotland. I need to figure out where I want to start, he said, leaving the door deliberately ajar, a reminder of rugby's fragility. Ultimately, the news surrounding Uini Atonio has had a profound impact on Vunipola, not just as a former opponent, but as a peer the same age, from the same birthplace in New Zealand, whose rugby journeys have taken dramatically different turns. Having been around the game for so long, I understand the stature of what Uini represents for France, he said. To see what's happened to him is extremely sad. It is a moment of perspective. It's a reminder to us all as players that everything can be taken away from you so quickly. As France prepare to run out under the lights in Paris, they will do so without one of their most beloved warriors. But if Vunipola's instincts are right, they will carry Atonio with them, emotionally, spiritually, and perhaps dangerously, into a Six Nations campaign charged with purpose. And that, he warns England and everyone else, can make France more formidable than ever.